often, and it's that time of year as well, and this will kind of be a great segue into, the topic of the day. I kind of reflect often on the path that led me here. And I'm a person that always embraces whatever led me here, whether that's good or bad, because if I'm happy where I am, I have to embrace the path that led me here, right? If I tried to go off in some alternate timeline, maybe I wouldn't have all of the things that I'm grateful for. But I also focus on, what do I want my future path to look like? Now I've got a grandbaby, Iris, and she's healthy and awesome. But what do I want that to look like? What level of involvement do I want to have? So it becomes kind of this year-end reflection, leads to my year-end planning and things like that. I know some of you know me. I wanted to share just really quickly. I'm an old dinosaur. I am. I got in this industry in 1991 as a loan officer. So, some of you young guys will be telling me that, things have changed, and they have. But I think sales principles and some of the concepts of success have remained the same. And I've been able to kind of prove that over the last 30 years. I've been a CEO at 5 different mortgage banks, led each one either from a startup or from a very small company like we are here at Zenith today into the top 50 in the nation. People I've coached, one is a CEO at Cardinal Financial. Nick, I trained as a loan officer back in the 90s. One runs a $2 billion division over at G-Rate. I don't know why they're over at the Evil Empire. That's a different story. One loan officer that I still coach, Molly, I helped her go from about 1 to 2 loans a month as a part-time loan officer to over 100 transactions a month, which is superstar loan officer status, right? So, and one of the commonalities that I've had in all of these companies and coaching and things like this, kind of interesting, Lori, don't tell me on me, but I've never set a sales goal. I don't set sales goals. Um, Everybody has coaching. Everybody has the ways that they do things. I don't want to change any of that, but I do want to see if I can add rocket fuel to it, if I can help. Because the truth is, I don't believe that there's a single way of doing things. I think it has to be custom for every company and every person, the personality. And that's why I laugh when people go to like, oh, I'm going to go to the Todd Duncan rally. I'm like, yeah, it's great. And they're going to tell you how to run your business. And you're going to come back and try to run it like someone else and realize that doesn't work for me. And it becomes deflating often. So I'm very focused on a very customized approach. But rather than the sales goal, what I focus on is the process. I believe there's a path that leads to everything. And the end result will be that you get there if you walk the path, right? I don't just wake up tomorrow and say, oh, I'm a doctor. There's a path that leads there, right? There's college, there's medical school, there's internship, there's all of these things, but I do have to walk the path if I want to get there, right? And, why don't people get there? Most people don't. Usually they're complacent. It's very easy to be complacent because my wheel turns, things work. Life works. It's not ideal, but it works. So there isn't maybe motivation to do anything differently, which is fine. Sometimes it's just hard. People don't like hard things. Sometimes it's overwhelming. There's just too many things. It's kind of like, hey, go do this. And you're like, I don't even know how to break it down into a step-by-step process. It's overwhelming, right? Sometimes we don't have the patience. My oldest son is a bodybuilder, and he's really big into this, and he laughs all the time. People like, I want to become a bodybuilder, and he's like, great. Um, you need to go spend these daily habits for the next 3 years minimum, and then we can actually start to do a bodybuilding thing for you. People like, no, I want to go to the gym and I want to see results. This is me, right? He gets like, get in shape, Dad. I'm like, yeah, I go to the gym, and if I've been there for 3 weeks and I don't see a material change, I lose interest. I want to see a reward, right? That's who I am. So, that would be, and some people just don't want to, just really have no interest. I don't know, for anyone who's ever read the book Microscopic Habits, it's really kind of cool. One of the things that they talk about in there is they use an example of the US cycling team, which before they started winning with Armstrong, it was kind of like they were a joke. They were literally a joke. And what they did is they didn't say, well, okay, well, we're going to go out and we're going to win the Tour de France. What they said was we're going to have 1% incremental improvements in every area that we can find, just 1%. And then they just kept repeating that process. And that's kind of the thing that I'm talking about, right? Is when they focus on that process and those things that change incrementally, it's digestible, it's doable. He didn't go in and say, hey, we're going to win the Tour de France next year. No, it took him like 7 years, but then they had this perennial winner, right? So for a number of years. And I think that's kind of one of the things that we want to focus on. So as we embark on a year-end planning, I want you to use whatever process you use, right? Whatever form, coaching that you're using doesn't really matter to me. Use a piece of paper for all I care, right? Set your sales goals if you want or whatever it is. But I do want to um, here's what I want from you. What I would like to see is I would like you to articulate what is your mindset as to why you're doing it and who you are, how that encompasses who you are, right? Because it's really easy, like, oh yeah, I want to make $1 million next year, and then if I don't, then I'm really good. I can beat you up as to why you didn't accomplish that, right? I could be a core coach, right? It's not, but that's not really what we're trying to do. So it starts there, right? Okay. Um, and let me go into this. Like, I would say, what are also, once we understand that, what are the daily and weekly habits that are going to get you there? How are you going to keep the mindset that tied to that goal? And at the end, what does that reward look like? Right? So if I hit those goals, do I buy something? Do I go on vacation with the kids? What is it that I get? Because there has to be something more than it's just not about units and it's not about money. For people who really are doing it for that, like, I don't know how you run that hamster wheel and don't just die. For me, there has to be something more. And if I don't have those things, what I've found in my life is it's never enough. I set a goal and I hit the goal and then I don't get the fulfillment that I thought I was going to get. So then I do something different. I was talking to Josh Metal about this a number of years ago, and I'm like, why are you doing? He's like, I don't know. I need to have more. I'm like, how many millions of dollars do you really need to have in the bank leaving for your family? Like, you're at $20 million. I mean, 50, 100? Like, he's like, I don't know. I'm like, see, there's something different at play here, right? There's something different that's working here. So that's what I would really like you to do. And I would like you to sign at the bottom after we talk about it, your commitment to focus on that. I will sign for you the commitment to help you get there for anyone who's interested in it. If you're interested, I want to help you. Honestly, look, I have no interest in being a babysitter. I'm not a nag. I could easily say, hey, you failed at your weekly goals. Like, so what? You know that anyway. You know, but what I think I can help you do is become something. I'm very good at whether it's, I mean, all kinds of things like leveraging referrals, leveraging the work that you're doing. Do you know that the people that I coach all average over 3 referrals during live transaction from every loan they do? Minimum of 3 for every single person. You're already doing the work. Like, why are you not getting, maybe you are, maybe you're exceeding that. I don't know, right? But those are the things that I can help. Like if you're running into people who are shopping you, how do we work at some of the scripting? If you're running into, hey, I'm going out on sales calls, but people are just telling me to drop dead. Yeah, okay, well, how do we do that? So it's not just, this is what I want to offer, is not just simply going, hey, well, you didn't go see your 5 new referral partners this week or whatever the number thing is, right? Like there's a million reasons why that didn't happen. How do we become more effective at the habits and things that we are doing today? And I think for anyone who's interested, no matter how successful you are, because we have some amazing originators here, but I think I can help push that forward, right? So want you to just, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about, I don't know anyone who's a Simon Sinek fan. I'm old, so maybe he's too old these days, but he has this concept that says start with why. And I want to share with you my why, because it's made a big difference in my career. And when I started in the business as an originator, um, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't realize that I couldn't be successful because there was no mentoring, there's no coaching or things like that. And I became within the first year, I was the #1 originator in my market. And loan officers started showing up at my door. And they're like, hey, you've got a great reputation. Can we work here too? And in my mind, I thought, oh, that sounds great. I'll bring you in. You can pay the bills and I can just keep what I do, right? And I found that my production went down because all of my time was spent helping them do things. But what it uncovered for me is I actually enjoyed that more than I enjoyed doing more loans. It became my why. I like to see what things can become, whether that's a company or a person. When I see something reach its potential, reach its destiny, that's why I do what I do. And at this stage of my career, I do not work for money. Not that I'm like uber rich necessarily, but that's not why I work. And when I got together with Dave and started working with Dave, I believe in Dave and I believe in Zenith and I believe in what it can become. And that's why I do what I do. And so with you, I offer that same thing as we go through this year-end planning process. If you would like, I'm a great resource, if nothing else, just the accumulation of coaching, training, and building companies over 30 years, where you can listen to those things, throw away the things that you don't like, grab the things that you do like, modify things that are almost there but not quite who you are, and let's see what it can become. Because as we look at, and Dave says, I want you to help grow Zenith. I'm like, that's great. But you know where I want to start is I want to start with us. And when we grow us and help everyone become whatever it is that they want to become, right? And I'm not saying everyone has to be a Molly Dean and do 100 loans a month. I don't care. You might be perfectly content at 5 or 10. It doesn't matter. I want you to feel fulfilled in what it is that you can become. When we all are becoming what we want to become in this company, the recruiting will take care of itself because people will want to become a part of that. With our value proposition as we go out to the industry and things like that, it's not going to be, let me sell you on this. It's going to be an invitation to become. And when people, that's something people get excited about. Help me become. Because I could go out there and I'd be like, oh, we have the best rates. We have the best products. Yeah, great, wonderful. Well, we probably don't, particularly at this stage of our development. We don't have the best rates and we're definitely limited on products, right? That's a whole separate conversation that other things that I want to do when we have our masterminds and trying to help us get the things in place to be more successful. Different topic. Coming back to this topic, that's who I really want us to be, right? Who are we going to become? How do we help you become? And then we can kind of go through all of those things through that process. And again, I just want to help. It's my why in life. I enjoy doing that. I'm really good at that. If you want to figure out how to change the dynamic, leverage the work that you're doing, whether that's referrals. I'll tell you this, you'll laugh at this. When I was an originator, if you were a realtor who referred business to me, one of the requirements that I had to work with me is you had to introduce me to a new realtor every year, or I wouldn't work with you. Right? And because I don't like cold calling. It's not fun. I'm not good at it. I want those introductions. And I've really focused on the psychology of why do people not do introductions, right? Like on a referral. I get it, like why you don't want to do it. Because no one wants a call from their friend going, dude, why did you sick that salesperson on me? Right? That's why people don't want to do it. Or sometimes they get tied into, I'm not really sure what you're looking for. And so those are all the types of things we can go through. And my thing was always, look, I'm going to make it easy for you. There's only two types of people that I'm interested in you introducing me to: people with homes and people without homes. Other than that, that's it, right? And it just kind of like they laugh and like, yeah, see, it's really easy. I don't need you to think through and try to pre-qualify people for me or see who's interested or not. It doesn't matter because, again, I'm in long game. And for me, it's just about what is my sphere of influence and how many people do I have that I'm regularly educating and helping become from that standpoint. Because that's what I did as an originator too. I would talk to a client and my consultations were about what can you become? And how can I be a tool in that financial journey for you to become what you need to become? All the way through to when we send people over to Lori to do some reverses for their parents or them eventually, right? I have some great things on. One of my pet peeves is as we look at our referral sources, right? And half the time we're sitting there waiting for them to catch fish to bring us fish. And they're terrible fisher people. Like, I don't want to wait for them. So I have to help them figure that out, right? How do I look at, and it ties into other things. How do I go into there and say, you know what? take DSCRs, which is really huge, is blowing up all over the nation right now, right? How do I go out to them and say, you know what? Let me help you get business. Give me your database and let me blast this out, right? I don't care if I did the loan or not because now I'm winning. I'm building a database of their people that I can adopt their mortgages. There's a lot of things I can do, right? So again, those things, rate objections, whatever it may be, that's the type of catalyst that I want to be for those who are interested in it. For those like, I got my world, great. I'm not going to be a nag. I'm not going to bug you or anything else. So I think that's enough of my monologue. I did want to open up for a little bit of dialogue here in the remaining, 10, 15 minutes that we have before we need to close, and let's chat. Thoughts? Like you're
Sounds
full of
great.
shit or
Yeah,
I'm excited.
sounds great. And for anyone who doesn't know, Mike's the reason why, we have our kind of P&L, single LO P&L model where, you get to decide how much, what you want your margins to be and what you want your compensation to be. That was just a big, as Chris knows, it's just a big gray box for 20 years of my career and, 15 years of Chris's career. It's like, okay, I guess this is what we earn. And then now you know why, and you can adjust that why. If you can sell at a higher margin, you can make more money and so on. So just part of kind of ties into the growth, of the skills that need to continue to grow and grow and grow so that you get shop less and so yeah, just another plug for Mike because without him, like we'd still be in the same exact nebulous model of are our rates too high or is my comp too low that even as being an LO after 6 months you get recruited all the time with like magic math numbers of how you're going to earn a lot more money, but it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all boiled down to the math.
for sure. And it ties very much into the process of becoming, right? Because one of the things you'll all hear from me over the years, months to come will be you can either act or you will be acted upon. You can't escape one of those two. And it's a lot more fun to act. So if we can create the tools for you to act, become, control your business, that's fulfilling. Now you feel like you could become. There's nothing worse than saying, because I've been in this situation before, right? It's like people are like, here, spin me some gold out of straw, but I'm not going to give you any straw or a spinning wheel, right? Like I can't do that, right? If you give me all of the tools, I can spin you some gold. But if you give me no tools, what am I supposed to do? And that's really one of the philosophies that I think we, want to focus on is that. And, with our core group here, as we grow and become and we get into these masterminds, one of the other things that Dave and I have been chatting about is kind of creating a strategic group of people who are invited to help us focus on the strategy of the company too. So you feel like, yeah, this is what will help everyone achieve. And again, it's just feeling like, hey, great, I have the power to act instead of just somebody at the top of the house who inflicts stuff on me all the time. Nothing that is deflating as that, especially people who aren't good at originating. Drives me more insane than anything else. Like, oh yeah, just go do this. Yeah, have you ever tried that? Go try that sometime. When you tell people, oh, just tell your client it's going to be late, right? Yeah, good luck. Doesn't work. Realtors don't care. I had a realtor once complain at me that I couldn't fund a loan when the Fed was closed. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, call like Janet Yellen? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, yeah, call whoever you need to call. I'm like, yeah, great. This is what a lot of times people don't realize that people in the origination place who are threatened with their jobs on a daily basis have to deal with.
Hey, Mike, I'm with Chris. I'm in. Like, let's roll. What are some of our next steps in this process? Like, you want us to send you an email or?
So yeah, send an email and say, look, I would like to do that. Start with a rough draft of kind of what that looks like based on what I asked for. And then I will kind of get with you and we will talk through it to make sure that it's good, or maybe we want to refine it a little bit. And then once we have a refined plan, we're both going to sign it and we're going to achieve it. But again, remember, for me, I will be more focused on, you can have a goal that says I want to get to whatever 15 units a month, Dean. I will be focused on the process, the mindset, the identity-based goal that is, rather than the end goal. Because I believe if you do the right things, the habits, the things on a daily and weekly basis, that will take care of itself. And instead of being tied into a timeline that says, oh, gee, I wanted to be a doctor and I was supposed to do it in 8 years, but it took me 9, and then people are depressed. Doesn't matter. We will be successful if we do those functions. So I will be very focused on that aspect. And you can still be focused on whatever you're focused on. Those of you that have coaches, that's fine. Don't care, right? I will be focused on helping you with the process and then the roadblocks. It was like I mentioned, like sometimes I've had people like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I went out to go see a new referral source and I got shot down. Great, let's figure out why. How do we up-level that? How do we change it? Because it doesn't do any good to say, well, I guess you just need to go see more of those next week. And if I'm striking out and they say, now double it next week because I'm not hitting my goal, like it's just, that's actually depressing. It actually isn't really, and then people lose motivation. And it becomes a snowball, right? And you move 3 months in and you're so far behind in your goal, you just give up on it. It's like, screw that. And that's what I want to get away from. I want to focus on the process. We will win. We will be successful if we follow the basics. So that would be next steps. And then we'll kind of, go from there.